Hello everybody, welcome to Catherine Sews. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have recently, actually not even recently, for a few months now, I've been obsessed with this skirt that ended up all over my social media feed, and I just think it's so beautiful. I want it so much. I could just order it. It's not even expensive, but of course I don't really love to participate in fast fashion, and of course everything is fast fashion. And I also think that if I did order it, I would not be happy with the quality. This particular company gets very poor reviews online, and so I think I'm going to just try to make it. It looks like it would be a fun project anyway, don't you think? So I went thrifting for a pair of jeans, any pair of jeans. They could be skinny, wide leg, it doesn't matter. As long as they fit nicely at the waist and down to about the hip, that's all I needed. So I got a pair of Lee jeans. I showed you that in a video recently. Yeah, they still had the tags on, didn't they? So these are going to be great. They are quite skinny, but that's okay because I'm only using the top part and a little bit in the leg to create those beautiful like belt pieces that come across the skirt, which I love. So then I tried going thrifting for like a tulle skirt or a chiffon skirt or some kind of lightweight skirt, and I just really came up empty. I've been literally trying for months for this, and so I ended up going and I bought some fabric. And so I've got two fabrics of chiffon. This one is just that like French blue, which is what that skirt is described as, and also this one, which can you see the shimmer to that? Like it is, I think, iridescent. Can you see that purple getting picked up there? Gorgeous, right? So I'm going to be layering those two with the denim. That just looks amazing. So then I needed the two buckles for the straps. So again, I went thrifting and I just got so lucky on that one. I found two kids belts. One's black, one's brown, but they have the exact same little buckle, and that buckle is just going to be perfect. And that's all I need from the belt itself, is just the buckle. So the only other thing that I think I'm going to need are some silver grommets for the holes in the little belts and some denim thread, and then I should be good to go. So I'm excited because I wanted this skirt for so long. So I'm going to put the jeans on and start drawing where I want that yoke to be. Now, on the Inspo picture, they kind of go deep around the pocket. In fact, it looks like the pocket is sort of created really, really low. I'm not going to create a new pocket here, I don't think, but I will go deeper on the pocket. And then they use the whole fly piece, which I'm going to start with. I won't cut it off yet. I don't want to go straight across. I definitely don't want a straight line across. I'm going to start with that fly. I just don't want like a long skinny fly like that. It just looks a little symbolic, shall we say. So I don't really want that. The other thing I don't love about the inspo is when I kind of scroll through to the back of it, it's just the waistband on the back, which means that the side has a rather abrupt end to it. And I don't really love that too much. So I don't really know yet what I'm going to do on the back, if I'll come down under the pockets. I don't really know. We'll just have to play around. So I also am trying to think about how to do the sheer skirt part. And I think I'm going to just start off with some pretty full A-line or even like half circle skirts that go right up to my waist. And I'll put it all on with the yoke over it and then decide where it gets attached. I think that's going to be my best bet for getting that skirt to fit the yoke properly. So I think that's everything that I need. I think that I've done all the thinking because I've been obsessed for months. So I think we're ready to go. So let's get busy. Okay, so with my little scrap of soap and with my eye on the inspo picture, I'm going to start about mid-fly. I'll keep the fly for now, but already that looks really odd, doesn't it? Okay, and then this part comes down low. Okay, on the back. So I don't know if I should follow maybe the same shape and come up and then back down, or if that also looks sort of odd. Maybe I should start by going straight across the back. And you know what? Maybe I should start going straight. Oops. Maybe I should start by going straight across the front too, even though I know I don't want to end up with a straight line. So my lines are absolutely all over the place here. So I might end up coming up at the middle, but I think I'm going to start just by, well, I guess this is coming up at the middle, but I'll dip down below both pockets. And then on the front, I'll kind of just come around like that. Okay, so it's a flowing line. We'll see if I end up, coming right up and just doing that. We'll see. So I know for sure that I'm cutting it off shorter than crotch level. So it's going to be easiest to cut symmetrically if I just do a straight cut right here first. So those are my new LDH scissors that I showed you in my last video. I'm still loving them. Good, so now I can lay it this way and cut it symmetrically. I'm still scared, so I'm going to still give an extra bit of seam allowance below that line. Okay, well that looks reasonable, and I kind of like the flowy line. We'll see how that works. So here's a little experiment. I've got the dress on that I made a few videos ago from called 7718, and I'm just looking at using the skirt part of that dress. It actually feels amazing. I love the fullness of this skirt. It is kind of huge. I don't know if I have enough fabric, but I'm going to try to start with this pattern. And while I've got them on together, I think I've been trying to play with like seeing what this would be like to get rid of some of this, like make my flowy line flowier. So I'm going to come up a little bit and then back down. Okay, and the back is pretty good. So I'm still going to leave seam allowance around everything because I think I'll be turning that edge under, and I'm still a little bit chicken, but I think I'll come up here, back down, and I've got the pocket bag tucked away there, so I'll still have full use of the pockets. And the soak marks just iron right off, or they wash off, but that's pretty good. Now, this is funny, isn't it? Yeah, this needs to come in, doesn't it? I think so. Okay, here we go. All right, that might be it. I think I have enough fabric. For some reason, I bought 3 yards of one fabric and 4 of the other one. I don't remember what I was thinking, but even the 3 is fine. I'm just having to tilt a little bit. This one I'm tilting a lot. Basically, I'm bringing the center back edge onto the straighter grain, which is fine because that's what the front is. So it'll kind of hang the same as the front. So I'm not worried about that. And yes, I have an interesting collection of pattern weights. On a paneled skirt like this, the notches are very important. It's all the information you need to know how to piece it all together. And you're right if you're thinking, I don't need the top 6 inches or so. You're absolutely right. I'm going to be cutting it off, but I think I'm going to start with it like this just for the ease of fitting it. These are my center fronts and side fronts. There's the single notch matching up to the single notch. Now I could get fancy and do French seams on all of these because it's a sheer fabric, but if I'm cutting it up and putting the denim yoke, and I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to serge. I don't even think I'll sew first. I'll just serge, and that'll be in keeping with the casual nature of this skirt. Casual but beautiful, hopefully. So I'm hoping that the 2 layers of sheer will be full enough and swirly enough that I don't need a lining, that it's not too sheer. That's my hope. Okay, to the serger. So I have a regular needle, regular thread. I've just tightened up my 2 looper threads to about 4.5 for the tension there, just to keep it from looking loopy inside my seam. And I've got a couple of different bluey gray threads on the serger. I don't need to have the 4 threads going. I could have reduced it down to a 3 thread, but this will be fine. So even through the sheer fabric, that is fine for a casual skirt. I'm quite okay with that. Okay, and now I'm serging the side back onto the side front, and again matching the notches. This time it's the double notch. And now I'm serging on the center back panels. And then finally, it's the center back seam. Now, a zipper would normally go right here, but I won't be doing the zipper. I just have to leave that opening so that I can get it on and then put the denim yoke over it and figure all that out. So I just pressed all my seams. It's looking beautiful, but I just stepped into it to try it on, and I found that I did not even need that opening. It's a little bit big, like the waist actually fits over my hips. So I'm going to serge that part closed. The only reason I'm serging this closed is just to make the next step, like the fitting of the yoke onto it, to make that step easier. I'm actually going to just baste an elastic around the waist just to hold this up. Alrighty, so I've got the lining inside the skirt. Both of them have good sides facing out, so it's the right side of the lining to the wrong side of the skirt, just because when this bottom part sticks out those extra 2 inches, I want the nice side of the seam facing out, so that'll look pretty. I've matched up seam to seam, edges to edges, and pinned around. And then I've got a piece of lingerie elastic that I've quarter marked. And this elastic is all just temporary. This whole top edge is temporary. It's just so I can get it on and layer on the yoke and then kind of figure out how I'm going to sew them together. Still not quite sure. So my quarter marks go to the side seam and the center back. And they're meeting at the center front. There we go. So there's a lot going on right here. You could definitely do this in 2 separate steps where you would just baste the 2 edges of the skirt together and then you come back in and attach the elastic. But I'm going to do it all in one. Still a regular needle, and I'm using a long stitch length so I can just do this as a temporary basting stitch. So now I just have to pick up my first clip, which is at the side seam, and stretch that, make sure all my layers are together. No problem. Okay, so now I should be able to put that on and layer the yoke over it. So I've got the skirt underneath. It's elasticized and staying up just like that. And it's sitting a little bit lower than the waistband of the yoke. I've got the pockets tucked up inside because I'm hoping to still be able to use those. So now I have to finalize the line, like this bottom edge. I feel like I cut off a little too much there. I kind of wish it was coming down here like that, but oh well, it's not. So to get the fullness of the skirt right, I want to get the side seam of the skirt lined up with the side seam of the yoke. Okay, good. And then I just kind of want to make the rest of the folds look nice. I don't want them to look bunchy or too many flat sections. Kind of want it to look even and nice. I don't know. At the moment, I do not know. That looks funny. Something looks funny. I don't know. I think it's not even here. Yeah, I think I have to even this up when it's not on me. Something about like that. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% in love at the moment, but don't forget that it's still going to have those two belts coming across. I think that adds a lot. And I don't know, the movement is nice. I'll persevere. I don't know if I'm 100% in love, but I will try to love it. And I wish I had a friend to pin the back for me. I'm just trying to get a few key pins in there. That's not easy though. Pinning your own butt is not so easy. I finally thought to use my Dressform. This is a perfect opportunity to use it. And I'm also thinking that I'm not going to turn under that edge. I think I'm going to just sew close to the raw edge. I think, right? First of all, right here is somewhat impossible. I'd have to do some trimming away, maybe some hammering right there. You know, it just does not want to fold in. So maybe the raw edge is fine. So in that case, I just want a lot of pins and I want the pins holding down the gathers nicely. Okay, I think that's gonna work. We'll see. So this is just a mess right now. I have to get in here. I cannot recommend this as a technique. This is a little cuckoo. So I want to keep everything looking nice, which is sort of funny because it's not looking nice at the moment, but I want to keep everything looking good at this bottom edge. And what I'm doing right now is just running a basting stitch along here. And then I'll double check, make sure it's good. And then I'll be trimming off the excess. So I've still got that long stitch length. And as I go, I'll try to arrange the gathers nicely. So avoiding any big folds and avoiding flat spaces if I can. Oh my goodness, stressful. Okay, so there's the center back seam that I want to keep in line with the center back seam of the yoke. I think I got myself into a pickle with this one. Side seam connecting with the side seam, that's good. This is definitely going to need some rearranging because a lot of places have just felt really funny. No, there's definitely got to be a better way. Tonight when I'm trying to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll think of what I should be doing right now. Yeah, one issue is the pocket just comes down way too far. I can't even push it out of the way. I should have dealt with that first. I'm going to deal with it after. Okay, I'm thinking of this as a rough draft. There's definitely going to be some problems here that I have to fix. Oof. So I have no idea if that worked. Let's check it out. Okay, it's actually great. It's actually everything I hoped for. I love it. Okay, so that's very encouraging. I really was worried. I thought I was not going to like it at all, but I love it. So there's just a few things to fix up. So that pocket is coming right there where it can't be. And luckily, right in the same space is one of the areas that I knew was going to have to get fixed up. There's a fold, like a big fold in here, which, you know, I can't really tell on the outside, but I think it is disrupting how it hangs. Eek. If you do get a pull in your fabric, you can usually pull it back. Safer to pick my stitches on this side, because if I make a hole in the denim, no big deal. But in that delicate fabric that's now going to be hanging below this, that would be a problem. And the safest spot to pick is in between the layers. While I'm in this area though, I also want to get rid of this pocket piece that's getting caught right into the fly. So I should have dealt with that right at the beginning. So this pocket is just going to have to go up a lot higher at that fly area. To fix this up now, I'm just going to have to re-sew that pocket, the area that I just cut. Then I tried honestly to keep intact as much as I could around here, any little sections, just to keep me on track. But no, it's almost the whole entire front that's getting redone. So that's okay. I'm motivated now because I know I'd like it. So I'm going to close up that pocket and then come right back to get this repinned. So you don't need to come and watch me do that. I'm just going to sew right there. So I put it back on the dress form and even did some hand basting while it was still on the dress form. So the next bit of craziness is I think I'm going to run a zigzag stitch just above the seam line here. So all of this is going to get trimmed off, but I think it might be easiest if I zigzag it first. So I think I'm safe to trim right beside my zigzag now. This is definitely a weird process. I don't think I've ever made anything quite like this before. It will be really easy to catch part of the skirt in here and make a big hole in it, so I am being quite careful, kind of pulling this excess away when I cut, so I know the skirt is nowhere near where I'm cutting. Okay, so this part is all gone, and then it's not beautiful on the inside, but it might just have to do. So now it's time to do a nice top stitch around the bottom of the yoke, and I want to match this top stitching. So I've got this Coats & Clark thread. It's a pretty good match, but it's really thick. When you use a heavy thread, it needs to have a big eye just so it can slide easily through the needle. So these are massive denim needles. So I'm using the 110s, and it's got just a really big eye for that thread to pass through. Even if you can thread your thread through a regular needle, it has to be able to go, slide easily through. Otherwise, it gets all shredded. And then the only other thing I've changed is the length of my stitch. I've moved it to 3.5 millimeters long, just because I find I really do like a longer stitch length on an important top stitch, especially when it's on a thick fabric. I want a longer stitch. Okay, so now I know I want to do 2 rows here. So what shall I do? I'll do first the one that's close, and I'll just run that raw edge right in between the toes of my presser foot. And I did try this out on a scrap first. Make sure it's all happy. Okay, I gotta say I'm worried about going around here, especially right in here. I might have to switch to a zipper foot because when I was basting this, I just couldn't get it to work right there. But my top stitch looks pretty good. And of course, this basting stitch, the black, will come out. That big needle goes through those thicker parts just like a hot knife through butter. This little corner sticking out here has to go now. Make sure I don't cut the skirt. Okay, that was stressful, but there's once around successfully. I could have gone longer with my stitch length. That's 3.5, but I could have gone 4, but now I can't because I want the 2 rows to match. So could have gone 4 though. So now I'm debating, take out this line of basting first, I think, because if you're doing your second line of stitching and when you sew through that thread, it gets to be hard to take out. So give me a minute. I'm going to take out that basting. So I got all that basting out, and now it's time for the second row of top stitching. I think I'll run the first row of top stitching in between the toes. That might be a bit close. No, okay, I'm going to run the edge of my presser foot along there. And I want to make sure the seam allowance stays going up inside and that no extra folds of fabric are getting caught in here, or the pocket if I can help it. Oh no, I don't like it. It's too far apart. No, I don't like it. I'm going to stop. Yeah, I guess back to plan A, where I was turning the thread in between the toes. I have a regular bobbin thread in. That made it easy to pull that out. I just destroyed my bobbin thread, no problem. All right, I'm going to run the line of top stitching right into that toe. Like the toe is going to be on top of it. So now right here, when I come down, I'm just going to go as far as I can and do a little back tack. The fly will cover that, and then I'll pick it up again down here. So that solves my problem of having to go right beside this really thick piece. Okay. And then I'll swing around here. I think that'll look normal and natural. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. So in between here, this is just where I jumped from one spot to the other. And so I'm pretty happy with that. I think that'll be fine. Okay, I think that'll do. So now just the little hems and the belts. I'm looking forward to doing those belts. But yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to do the rolled hem setting on my serger. So I've got no left needle, and then I've got the tensions at 4, 3, and 7. My stitch length over here is at rolled, and the differential feed is at 1. So I've taken out the left needle, and I've put the blade down. And so every serger will be different, so you should check your manual, but that works really nicely for this. So I'm starting at one of the center back seams. With no blade, I just need to make sure that I've given it enough fabric to roll. So normally when I serge, I have a little smidge showing here, but now I'm going to cover that, like I'll bring my fabric right to the edge there. And can you see it? It makes such a nice little edge and so fast. And since I've got the blade down, I can't just cut off my tail of thread. So I need to trim that and then overlap where I started. And then the same thing again on the under layer. So the hem is done. All right, the hem is done and I absolutely love it. It's so lively and fun. It's got such nice movement to it. All I have left to do are like the buckles and straps and all of that stuff. So I've been playing around with how to get that nice. So from one of the legs, I cut out 4 strips that were 3 inches wide. And then I also need 1 extra belt loop. So I just made 1 extra long. So this strip is 1.5 inches wide. All right, so these ones were 3 inches, belt loop 1.5. And I just made them as long as I could, as far as a 6-inch piece would go here, like 2, 3 inches. I just made them as long as I could. So they're extra long for sure. So I played around with sewing them and having one closed end because I realized I needed a closed end. I realized that too late after I had sewn them all like this. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. Alrighty. So I've got it pressed, just folding in 1/2 inch, press like that, and then in half, bringing your edges together nicely. This works so much better on a crisp, heavy fabric like this. It works so much better than sewing it right side together in a tube and then turning that tube. It's just so nice to get it flat and crisp. Now, the end that I need closed, I want to be able to fold that one in. So I'm going to make 3 little clips here just to reduce the bulk, because if I have that all just in like this, it's really bulky there. So I want to reduce that quite a bit. At these little folds, I'm cutting off the corner. Not so much, like I'm not cutting past my fold. I don't even want to cut up to the fold, because if I cut up to that fold, I'm going to have a little raw edge corner sticking out. We don't like that. And then here on this fold too, that's going to go back on itself. So I'll cut off the little corner there. So those 3 little snips just make it a lot easier, like a lot less bulky. They just kind of volunteer to fold there now, and it feels so much better. So it feels nice and flat. And if I can't get those corners to come in, I just kind of peek inside and figure out why isn't that corner going in, and maybe I need to trim off a little bit over here. I do want to have this fold. I don't want to cut all of that off, but I can cut off about half of that. And let's see if that makes it easier to fit all of that stuff in the corner. Yeah, I think so. I'll be able to tuck all that in now. Oh, yes. Oh, that made a nice little difference. Okay, okay. So now, just like I did with these, I'll sew with my yellow top stitching thread with a stitch that's about 4 millimeters long and all around all 4 sides. And the belt loop, I'll just sew both sides, like both wrong sides. So this is still that big heavy needle and the thick thread. So I know I'm going to be cutting this shorter, so I really don't need back tacks because I'll be cutting them off anyway. So that's nice. And this is the folded end. I'm going to start at the opposite end, because I don't want to have a back tack anywhere near that other end. I want this folded end to end up looking really good. So you might find sometimes that straps like this sort of end up twisting on you. Pressing it at the end helps, but what I've also noticed is, if you think about those feed dogs dragging that bottom end under and your presser foot pushing the top this way. So to counteract that, I'm just kind of tugging a little bit on the bottom layer. All right, so my fingers are like this in between the layers. Okay, now I'm coming up to that corner. I can use little snips to push that corner in. I definitely don't want to see it sticking out. Okay, so this open end is going to get cut off anyway, but that looks pretty good, right? I'm pretty happy with that. So there are 2 with closed up ends. I'm going to come back to those, and then the other 2 are open at both ends. So I've cut the buckle off one belt. So to cut them off, I want my big heavy whisk scissors. I don't want to use my brand new LDH scissors. So there. So now I need to create a hole to put the belt loop through here. It's got to go through there and then get stitched down, maybe just a single layer. So if it's going to be through like that, I think, yeah, I could have my hole 2 inches from the end. So I'm going to use silver eyelets like this. So 2 inches is there and there.
So to make the hole, there's different tools you can find and use, but they all kind of have an edge like that. There are little pliers that look like this that have that cutting edge, but they all kind of look like that with that little cutting edge. Put that right on top. Whichever side looks better, you're going to poke that through. And these are eyelets. They're not grommets. A grommet has like a back piece that goes on it too, which I think does make it stronger, but this is going to be just fine for our purpose. So yeah, just like that, right through. And then it's the other kind of tool that you want. I'm going to put that rounded part in. So sometimes it looks like that, or it could look like that. But either way, what it does, it just makes the little prongs kind of spread out over the edge. There we go. So that's pretty nice and strong. That'll do. So those little tools definitely work. Even just using the scissors works, but this is the most satisfying. So these are the like proper pliers, and they give such a satisfying little hole. Let me show you. So for these ones, I think I might as well do the first hole at 2.5 inches from the end, and then every inch after that. And I think I'll just do 3 for now, but I might end up, oh, that's 4. Okay, yeah, I'll just do 3 for now, but I might end up doing the 4th. So here, can you hear this? It's so satisfying, right? And it gives you just the perfect little hole. Good. That is pretty satisfying. Good. So now to squish those on, there's a different bit that you can put on here. And I just did not bring that home with me from my classroom. So I'm back to the little tools that come in the kit. And so these go through. Oh yeah, that works just perfectly. In fact, I might as well do all 3. Okay, that'll do. That's nice. Yeah, they are. They did get a little wonky, but that is just going to have to do. Oh, yes, I think that's better. There is a right and a wrong side to this, so you want the little divot up. So that's going to be up like this. The little thingy is going to come through there. Doesn't that look good? I love it. Just nice like that. Excellent. And I think if I turn that under, you can turn it under, and while I've got my hammer here, you can hammer the denim. It kind of crushes the fibers and makes it a lot easier to sew. So I'll try sewing it because it does look better doubled over like that, right? Good, so I'll try to sew that. And if I can't get through that, then I'm just going to do it as a single layer underneath, like just out. But I might as well try it like that. In fact, why don't I hammer it this side out? Excellent, that'll be nice. So just before I went and sewed that, I buckled it up and then realized that the belt that I took it off from had this extra little loop right after the buckle. And that's important because the Inspo picture has a different kind of buckle where it's coming, you know, there's a little bar over it here. So I think I'm going to take a little step back. And I'm going to need another belt loop like this, or more length of it like this. It's going to come around. I'll sew it to the inside of this and then cover that with that. So that should be okay. Now, if this is getting all too tedious for you, I understand. And you can jump to the end when it's all done because the skirt is beautiful. It's already beautiful. I could totally wear this as it is, but I am just excited about these buckles, right? I think that that really makes it cool. So yeah, I'm going to persevere and I'll show you how it goes. This one extra long belt loop I have, I'm going to cut it in half so that I have 2 pieces that are 3 inches long, one for each belt. So now I'm sewing this to the wrong side of the belt, just 3/8 of an inch, half an inch to the center from that belt loop on the wrong side of the belt. And this is the side of the belt that's getting the buckle. And I'm just going to do a little back tack. Good. And then this part wraps over, making this little ring, and I can get my presser foot right inside there, and just another little belt, a little back tack on that side. This might have to come on top there, but still stay out of the way. So now you probably can't see what I'm doing because that's blocking your view. You'll see it in 1 second. So that little ring is sewn to the back side. Now the buckle goes on like that. So when you fold that, the ring is underneath the belt and it feels like you just messed it up. But that is exactly right. Get the little prong to come out, and then the belt feeds through the ring. And now I can sew this end down. It's not bad. Okay, so if you want to see pure satisfaction, just look at this. That goes in there, this comes through the ring, and oh, Bob is your uncle. Am I in love or what? Oh, yes, I love that. Love, love, love. Okay, putting those onto the skirt. This belt gets kind of sewn onto the waistband. I want the buckle to land in the middle. We use those original belt loops. I probably should try it on and make sure that that still fits me because this is a stretchy waist, so I should build that in. I don't want to eliminate the stretch. So I just had to put this all on and figure it out while it was on me. So I had it on, buckled up, and kind of just started placing the buckles where I wanted them to land and then deciding how they're going to cross. And so this is more or less the configuration that I'm going to work with. For this one, I'll just sew it right under that belt loop. And the other end, I'll have to sew after I sew this one because this one's going to be sewn under. Okay, so I know I want this one to hit that belt loop there. So I'll keep that pin in place, but this one, under one, I want to be sewn down around here. That end is going to get covered up when I bring this one through. So yes, I think everything has a place. I made a new belt loop. The first one I made was a bit too skinny, so I made it wider so that it mimics the original a little bit, and then stitched it not so close to the edge. So that looks pretty good like that. And these are just going to get sewn down now. Oh, I did also open up a little bit of the side seam there because this one is going to just slip in there just until the pin hits the side. And that'll just sew right in there. So that'll look good. So I just opened up that little smidge and then I'll sew that closed. So everything has a somewhat logical place to be sewn. Yeah, okay, let's go to the machine. So first I'll do that one that's getting tucked into the side seam. And I won't cut off the extra quite yet. This one's getting sewn underneath this belt loop. Okay, I think my machine is deciding for me that it's time to switch back to regular thread. Everything's getting yucky and tangly now. Okay, so my sewing machine did not enjoy sewing those belts on. So I did have to go running into my classroom, get those little belts sewn on, and then I just was out of time. And so I've already worn it to 2 events. I had to run out for a fundraiser event that I was wearing it to that night. And then the next night I wore it out again to the Vancouver Opera, which was really, really fun and beautiful. So it's turned out to be a great thing to have in my wardrobe. So I've absolutely loved wearing it. It just feels really special. It feels so swirly and lightweight and fun to wear. And I'm really glad that I didn't succumb to the temptation of buying fast fashion, instead making it myself out of a pair of thrifted jeans and a couple pieces of fabric. It was really fun to figure out how to shape the yoke and how to shape the skirt and how to put the 2 of them together and do those belts. It was really a pleasure for me to figure all that out and to share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little something. And until next time on Catherine Sews, you take care.